Let's sail across the stars like E.T. in flight. Oh.
Hello everybody. Now today I'm going to talk about A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie about Bob Dylan, starring Timothee Chalamet playing Bob Dylan. Now when I first heard Timothee Chalamet was playing Bob Dylan, I wasn't one of the skeptical people. I was one of the people saying, yes sir, you give me Timothee Chalamet in Batman, Timothee Chalamet as Willy Wonka. Well, that happened. I think this guy can do it. I think he puts in the work. And I don't know if I believe in talent, but I do believe in dedication to the craft. And my man Timothee Chalamet is dedicated. Now, what we're going to focus on today is the feeling aspect of A Complete Unknown. How this movie feels and how James Mangold, the director, allows this movie to create a phenomenological I went somewhere with that crazy word and then I didn't know what I was going to do. But basically, how he creates just vehicles through his cinematography for us to just receive all these emotions coming from the screen all the way to our eyes and to our brains and to our emotions and to every single cell of our core. Because this movie is truly hard-hitting. Now, why is it hard-hitting? Let's talk about the storytelling. The storytelling isn't great. James Mangold, in my opinion, is not the best storyteller in movies. He doesn't take you from point A to point B, giving you a whole lot of plot to then focus on at the end of the movie and go like, oh yeah, logically we went from there to there to there. He's great at creating moments rather than full feeling stories. And this movie opens with Bob Dylan arriving to meet one of his heroes. Now, why that works is because we all came to the movie theater expecting to get a deeper grasp of Bob Dylan, right? I went to this movie alone on a Wednesday night thinking to myself, I love Bob Dylan, I want to learn some more about him. And that's precisely what Bob Dylan does in that opening scene. He's going to meet one of his heroes to learn more about his hero. But what makes this opening, what makes this first part so special and so endearing to the viewer? And don't worry, we're not going to go into too many spoilers here, not that there are any, really, but that part where he's just, in the back of that car and he's looking out at New York and thinking to himself, wow, I'm really going somewhere. It's 1961, I'm headed over the bridge, I'm going to New York, I have my guitar with me, and something's going to happen. And that's a really relatable moment. And what relatable moments in the first acts of movies are supposed to do is easy. Get us to relate to our main character so we can love them, so we can love them through everything that's going to happen, so we can feel with them and even identify ourselves into their situation. You know what I mean? And so that's what that whole first act is about. It's about him discovering New York, and at the same time, New York discovering him as a magnificent artist and poet that he is. It feels magical, that opening to that movie and him trying to find his hero, Woody Guthrie, and then he finally gets to play his song for Woody in the hospital. And that part just feels so complete, so real. And how this is achieved is by, just easy camera work, nothing too fancy, some minimal lighting, like me right now, just a steady camera. And the camera is steady, it's not handheld during these scenes, these opening scenes actually. It's quite interesting. It's always quite stable. Why? Because, in my opinion, because Bob Dylan is a well-known character and we have these fixed images of him. It's not like these characters that we don't know yet and that we have to kind of walk next to and get that wobbly camera feeling to kind of feel like we're next to them and feel their aura. We know Bob Dylan, or we know of Bob Dylan. So it can be just fixed and we can see him walking in and walking out. That's something that slapstick comedy does a lot. Buster Keaton, for example, right? You have a fixed camera and you have him coming into the frame and leaving the frame because it's much funnier to see a character inhabit a fixed set. And what's cool is in Dylan, in A Complete Unknown, we have Bob Dylan kind of, you see him inhabiting the space that the camera films. And so that's why it has to be steady, because Timothée Chalamet plays Bob Dylan as I believe Bob Dylan to be, but I don't know Bob Dylan, as kind of an introvert, edge runner, marginal type poet, right? So for example, this camera right now is fixed right in front of me. So let me show you what Timothée Chalamet does. When he plays Dylan, he lounges and just inhabits those corners of the screen, almost like the character doesn't want to be there. I know you don't see my face, but look at what I'm doing with my hands, you know? And look at how I'm leaving the frame. I kind of want to stay, but at the same time I want to leave. And every single scene feels rich because of that fixed camera and how Timothée Chalamet inhabits that space. And the feeling that that gives us is the feeling of a real person. Because, of course, we're watching a movie, we're in a movie theater, we're at home, we're streaming it, whatever. We want to see Bob Dylan and we want to see him exist. And this movie gives us the feeling that what we're looking at is real. And that is achieved through acting as well. Of course, I mean, the acting was brilliant, from Ella Fanning to Timothée Chalamet to Ed Norton. I mean, the list goes on and on. The acting was fabulous. The cast was magnificent. That contributes to the feeling of it. But in my opinion, the key to that is really that fixed camera. The lack of handheld, shaky cam feeling really does allow us to feel like everything that we're looking at is real, even though this is in the 60s and it's 60 years ago now. It plays with our minds and our memories in a way that the movie tricks us into believing that what we're seeing is real. And in my opinion, this wouldn't work if it was a shaky camera, because we'd think to ourselves, first of all, it's easier to fall out of the magic of a movie when the camera's shaking a little bit, but also I think that it was done that way because we all have these fixed, set, movie-type memories of when, if I say, think about the 1960s, probably what you're thinking about is, or what I'm thinking about is tie-dye, hippies, vans, and all of this is in a fixed camera, and they're just driving through. They're driving through the lens in my mind, right? And with this A Complete Unknown movie, every single scene feels like it's from within. And I believe that the key to that is that fixed camera. Yeah. So well done, James Mangold. Well done, the camera person. I haven't Googled them yet. I just wanted to come on here and talk about A Complete Unknown because it's a new movie. It's wonderful. You should go see it. And to conclude on that feeling aspect, it feels real, it feels visceral at times, and it feels purely poetic in the sense that it feels like Bob Dylan just allows himself to kind of feel the entire contrast of the world and channels it directly into his writing. And there's nothing, this isn't a biopic where they build him up to be a larger-than-life character, or at least I didn't feel that way. This is a biopic that shows you just how easy it is to be someone you want to be in a moment. You know, and that's one of the things that Bob Dylan says in the movie. So really, go see this movie, have a great time, and if you like it or if you don't like it, I think you'll come away with something on this one. All right, peace.